So Ghost Recon Wildlands has arrived, and it's time to see how good this reboot of an old franchise really is. I'll cut right to the chase though and tell you that it's a bit of a mixed bag. It's not the worst game I've ever played, but I don't see it winning any awards either. Gameplay consists of you, either with a group of friends or AI teammates, duking it out with the Santa Blanca drug cartel across Bolivia. Using your TAC map, you can see the leadership structure of the cartel, as well as how this leadership structure is spread across the map. Each new province of the map is home to one of the Santa Blanca bosses. These are leaders in the organization that need to be taken out in order to dismantle the cartel. To do this, you'll first need to enter the province and gain intel on the bosses and their operations within that area. This will in turn unlock story missions that will set you on your way to eliminating the bosses themselves. As you eliminate bosses and further destabilize the cartel, you move closer to the final showdown with El Sueno, the head of the cartel, and the complete dismantling of the organization itself. I like this way of designing a main story campaign a lot. It offers the player the freedom to explore provinces at their discretion, as well as the opportunity to take part in guided missions that offer story and character progression. It strikes a great balance between player freedom and game-directed action. The map and level design is impressive as well. Bolivia looks exotic with tons of variation, and the creation of towns and outposts along with their gun emplacements, guard towers and surface-to-air missile sites provide ample obstructions for the player to contend with. The way the cartel is spread across the map really makes you feel as though you are dismantling a criminal organization piece by piece, and working up to the upper bosses in the hierarchy. What lets the system down, however, is a lackluster story and a lack of variety both in the feel and objectives of the story missions. The characters, dialogue, voice performances and cutscenes are extremely underwhelming, and all the while you're forced to listen to cringeworthy dialogue from the ghosts themselves, who seem like the kind of people you would never want to hang around in real life. Materialistic, crude and unemotional.
You answer my questions or I put a bullet in your gut and leave you to die in your own shit.
That explains why you smell like ass.
If you're playing with friends, you'll probably end up paying little to no attention to the story at all, which is a shame. Coupled with the unique mission structuring via the TAC map, there was a real opportunity here to make one hell of a kick-ass story campaign, but it got lost somewhere along the line in its execution. The boots on the ground gameplay is also a mixed bag. The guns look and sound impressive, especially during the loadout screens, but using them can feel a bit lackluster at times. There isn't really a sense of weight when using the weapons, and shooting can feel a bit arcade-like. Movement is fairly fluid. However, instead of press button cover mechanics, they have opted for contextual cover mechanics, which are supposed to work automatically when you are near cover. The system is unreliable though, and makes stealth and gunfights feel clunky at times. The controls for both on foot and flight are often unintuitive and buggy. For example, in order to switch to your underbarrel grenade launcher, you have to be aiming down sights. You can't do it in any other situation, such as running or taking cover. So if you're in cover, you need to aim down sights, which exposes you to damage, then click whatever button you have it mapped to, and then use it. Then the same system applies if you want to change back to your regular bullets. It's quite a stupid system, and there really should be a mappable button for this that's the same at all times. Both me and my friends also encountered a bug where these contextual controls were reversed. It can make for an extraordinarily frustrating experience when already unintuitive controls are bugged out and you die repeatedly due to mistakenly coming out of cover or taking your suppressor off instead of punching. The flight controls are strange to say the least, especially in helicopters. The closest thing I can compare it to is controls for a VTOL, that is planes like Harrier jump jets that take off vertically. At low speeds like takeoffs and landings, the controls act sort of like you would expect, but once you build up speed they start to behave like you're in a jet, which is an extremely strange choice. I've never seen a game use these controls before and I hope to never see them again. The gameplay is spiced up a bit with the ability to add skill points to your character, which gives the game a nice little RPG element, but this mechanic is let down in its execution because the unlocks feel somewhat uninspired and contrived. For example, many of the unlocks are basic items and abilities you would expect special ops to have access to, such as mines, C4 and explosives. Other unlocks seem like they were just added to the list to help fill out the skill point system. Stamina regen, for example. Just about the most interesting thing to be found in here is the drone and its various high-level abilities such as explosives and EMPs. The game runs fairly well, but I did encounter strange camera stutters when driving, as well as freezes to 3 or 4 seconds at a time. The PC port does have a lot of graphic options though, which is nice to see, as well as cool little previews of how these options will look. For a highly priced AAA title in 2017 though, I think it's fair to expect a little bit more than what Ghost Recon has to offer. It has some great aspects, such as the map exploration and cartel structuring, but it's let down by its story, controls, and bugginess every time it does something right. The game places a lot of emphasis on cooperative play, and sure, the game will be a lot more fun depending on who you're playing it with, but the same can be said for just about every game, and Ghost Recon Wildlands offers no unique cooperative gameplay other than simply allowing players to enter each other's game and work together. There's no unique classes or skills to coordinate, no moments where you're forced to split up or improvise, and so I don't think any points should be awarded to the game itself just because it's more fun to play with friends. Ghost Recon Wildlands gets a 5.5 out of 10 from me. It's not a horrible game, but it's let down by unintuitive controls and a forgettable story. If you have a great group of friends who know how to have fun, then this score can easily be bumped up to 8 out of 10. Just don't go expecting anything mind-blowingly orgasmic or you'll be very disappointed.